Welcome back to another episode of What Do We Call This? We're going to be talking about our favorite topic. We're going to be talking about the beautiful game. We're going to be talking about, and it's not soccer, by the way, it's football.
Yes,
It's
it is.
football.
Most definitely.
It's football. It's football.
It was football, it is football, and it will always be
It
football.
will forever be football.
Definitely.
Where did this, by the way, like before we actually dive into this, who, actually, I do know the story behind this. Do you
What?
know why, like, who started calling this soccer and who based, like, why, why do we call it football and, like, why do we call it soccer and, like, why is this delineation and so on and so forth?
I think the Americans called it soccer because they already had their football game. I mean, that's what I always thought that was the reason. I don't know if there's any other reason for that. To differentiate between the two games.
Actually goes way back, obviously, and the term soccer actually originates from England.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you exactly what it means. Does soccer mean horse? Soccer is an abbreviation of association football.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And this is a
Got it.
term that was coined when the FA was created.
I
if you like,
understand.
right?
I understand.
And so I think the abbreviation, obviously, Americans love abbreviations. And so they just went with the abbreviation as opposed to actually calling it what it visually makes sense married to the actual name of the game, which is football. Because American football, right, is not football, it's just handball. Foot, hand, shoulder, head, whatever you like to call it.
Yeah.
Tackling football. So there's that. So I'm glad we've cleared that up for everyone who needed this information.
A drop of knowledge here.
I must ask you, you seem very, very simmer this afternoon. What could possibly be the reason behind this subdued deal, which I'm not very used to?
I think I'm just tired. That's about nothing to do with the games. In case if you're implying that.
I didn't, how dare I? Like, I wouldn't,
Yeah.
I would never.
No, that's nothing to do with the games.
Have I ever done that?
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah, always.
Well, it's been done to me a lot.
Yes.
Do you want to share the running theory that you have?
Which is?
Associated with Liverpool and myself and Dubai and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So the theory is that if you ever move back to Dubai, Liverpool's gonna go back to being the Liverpool of before last decade, which was.
And why is that?
Because since you moved away from Dubai, Liverpool hired Jürgen Klopp and started performing well. Started performing so well that we never thought that Liverpool will get at this level. But yeah, credit due where credit to be given where it's due. They've done very well for themselves. They play entertaining football, and it's fun to watch them, which I never thought would happen. But yeah. So the theory is that. So that's why probably you're not moving back to Dubai as well.
Yeah, that's why I've been trying to push it as far out as possible because, we certainly do not want Liverpool to be falling down. I honestly, have my own opinions about, where we are this season, by the way, for what it's worth. I don't know if you guys can tell, clearly.
What?
I'm a Liverpool supporter, and for what it's worth, I don't know if you can tell by Adeel's very, very dim, gloom tone of voice and demeanor that he's a Manchester United fan. There was a lot of, I think there wasn't a piano, but there's a lot of, parading around Amorim coming into the role, and and it's undue pressure if you ask me honestly. But I do have my own thoughts about the game, and we'll talk about that as well. So let's dive into it, man. Like, what game did you watch this weekend?
So I watched both the games that were played out today. I watched the Liverpool game. I watched the second half of the Liverpool game, and then I watched the entire Man U game. Couldn't get hold of the games yesterday, but I've pretty much caught up with what happened, and yeah.
So, as we just looked through the results from yesterday, one of the biggest shocks for, I think, not just you, me, and everyone else out there was Arsenal beating Nottingham Forest. No, I mean,
No,
clearly
I think the bigger one was City getting beaten at home by
of
Spurs.
course.
So yeah, that was a very big shock. Yeah, 4-0. I mean, first of all, the shock generates from the fact that City got beaten so badly by Spurs. It wasn't Arsenal or Liverpool or Chelsea for that
Right.
matter. The Spurs, if I'm not wrong, last game week they lost to Ipswich.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So for them to come to Etihad and score 4 against City without conceding any goal was a big shock for everyone, I think, including City fans. Obviously, more for City fans, but it was a shock for everyone. So yeah, that was a big shock. I watched the highlights of the game. City, to their credit, had a lot of chances, but the Spurs goalkeeper Vicario was a wall.
So what we're going to do next is we're going to go through the games over the past couple of days. Obviously, we'll not be able to talk about Newcastle and West Ham that's happening tomorrow because we're recording this on a Sunday because we wanted to make sure we capture all the games that happen over the weekend. And frankly, who cares about West Ham? And I'm kidding, of course. We'll try to, if there's something material that happens in that game, we'll try to incorporate that next week. But let's talk about yesterday. Let's talk about Saturday. The biggest shock that's coming out of Saturday is obviously, Spurs beating City and City being very Spursy.
Yes.
5 losses on the trot.
Yes.
That's 5 losses on the trot.
I was reading it yesterday. This is the first time that this has happened to Guardiola. 5 defeats on the trot. City, I think the result was much more of a shock because it was Spurs who beat City. Spurs who lost to Ipswich last week. I don't think anyone thought that this would be the result. And, the fact that Spurs scored 4 goals and City did not score any. So I think that was a shock, was a bigger shock for me personally. I watched the highlights of the game. I couldn't watch the game. I watched the highlights and I saw, with little what I saw, I thought the Spurs keeper was on a different level.
Vicario.
He made, Vicario, yeah. He made 2 or 3 excellent saves off of Haaland. I guess, as you know, football is a team game. I think each of those players played their part in getting Spurs this victory. I think there was on one hand there were some errors from City defenders, but at the same time what I saw was the forwards of the Spurs line being very selfless, and rather than going for glory themselves, they saw if there was a teammate in a better position, they were passing around, which I think City found hard to deal with. But yeah, overall I
You
think
can say they used the width of the pitch, right? They used the width to their advantage, and that's really how one of Ange's better teams play, right?
Right.
I think, like, if you look at Celtic,
City for some reason are very regularly being exposed to counterattacks. As I've seen past 3 games, to be honest with you.
So I have a comment.
I've noticed that.
I have a comment that I want to make. Guardiola very famously called Spurs a Harry Kane team. And if you look at what's happening with City right now, you could almost call City a Rodri team, right? Like he's like, obviously you have Haaland who's playing the team, Kevin De Bruyne is back, they have defensive cover, there's nobody missing there, but they're prone to counterattacks, and that is I think Kovacic is missing as well, but I don't think that they had Nunez.
I don't think Kovacic was missing. So I think I have the team in front of me. So it's a pretty decent team. It's not a team that should be losing 4-0. But yeah, they don't have a proper defensive midfielder. In terms of, he played Rico Lewis and Gundogan. And Gundogan does not have the legs anymore.
Great.
He's a great player, but I don't think you can rely on him defensively totally. Yeah, he's a good playmaker, a good central midfielder, but for that defensive midfielder,
you would have thought he would play somebody like Nunez instead of I'll take Gundogan, but I think he probably went for experience over legs.
No, as a matter of fact, if I'm not wrong, I don't see him here. I think he could have played John Stones there. John Stones does a good job in midfield.
Yeah,
He's
that's
done
right,
in the
actually.
past.
Yeah.
And he could have
Well, he was
played.
like centre back.
Yeah. So he could have moved him and brought Nathan Ake into the centre back position.
I think
because
Nathan Ake was recovering for something because he came on late on in the game.
Right. So he got substituted in the second half. I mean, John Stones went off and he came on as substitute in the second half.
Well,
but having said that, we can always say that he could have done this, could have done that. Credit to Spurs. I mean, they set their team up to counter City, and probably they took a leaf out of the past 4 games that they've witnessed where City's lost, and probably they set their team up in the similar fashion to hurt City on the counters, and it paid off for them. Simple as that.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not complaining about the results.
Yeah.
I think we went 5 points clear after that game.
After that game, yeah. But today, after winning, you've got 8.
Yeah. And then Arsenal obviously winning 3-0 against Nottingham Forest. I think just a comment on that game. I think I saw probably the Arsenal of last year for the first time season.
Yes.
And but they're probably coming into gear at the right time. But I don't know if it's too late, considering the gap between Liverpool right now and Arsenal is 11 points. They would have to go. Like, how many games do like the top 2 or 3 teams lose over the course of the season? Right, 3, maybe
it's 9
4
points actually. It's 9 points between Arsenal and Liverpool. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I think the Liverpool has managed to increase the gap. I thought we'll talk about Liverpool later, but I think I agree with you. I saw Arsenal of the old. I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that Odegaard is back. Because he was injured.
They're too reliant on Guardiola.
Kind of. I think Arsenal has always been like that. They need to have an attacking midfielder through whom they always play the Arsenal way. And, as far as I can remember, they had Fabregas, then they had Ozil, now they have Odegaard. I mean, there was a period in between where they didn't have either someone between Ozil and Odegaard. And I think they suffered during that time. But now that they have Odegaard, he understands his role perfectly to the T. And he's the one who makes that team tick. Obviously, Saka is a very big part of that Arsenal team. He's a nightmare to play against. I remember now, I watched a bit of the game, Arsenal and Nottingham. And Saka, the Nottingham defense was finding very difficult to deal with Saka. Saka was everywhere. But yeah, I think Arsenal are finding their gear now. I think their defense is pretty much set, as we've seen from last year as well. I think Arsenal.
But that's the thing, right? They're one injury away from all the wheels falling off, right? Like they fell off prior to the international break. Like Gabriel, one of the 2 centre backs gets injured, or Odegaard gets injured. They don't have that cover in that they need their first team to be fit for the full season. I don't see.
I think for centre back they're playing this guy Calafiori on left back, but I think he's a centre back. He's played centre back before.
Yeah, but I mean,
Timber.
Yeah,
they've got.
But are these guys at the same level as, let's say, Gabriel or Saliba?
No, they aren't. But then again, no team has. If Virgil van Dijk gets injured tomorrow, they don't have the same caliber player in the backup as well.
Fair. But I think the cover that we do have, right, and that same goes for City, from a defense perspective. I'm not talking about like any other position. Because, a good defensive team is a title winning team.
Yeah, of course.
They don't have the number 2s or number 3s in cover that would win them games or get them through games. Right? And I think Liverpool have that, City have that. And that's why, Liverpool are where they are and City are where they are. And right now, Arsenal being basically 3rd, are probably the most hyped team in the league, the most talked about team in the league, and the most under-criticized team in the league as well. From that perspective, like if you're talking about champions, there should not be any excuses. Injuries, so what? Like you need to still go out there and win games if you want to be champions. Like all I've heard about from Arsenal, from the Arsenal camp, from Arsenal media, and like, basically British media, that, Arsenal is going through an injury crisis. While, for example, at Liverpool, we were missing Alisson Becker, we were missing Harvey Elliott, missing Diego Jota. Like these are our, basically our starters. Maybe not Elliott, but Alisson Becker and Diego Jota, like they're a vital cog. And then we have, Kelleher and Nunez who came in and did a job, right? They'll get you through the game. They'll get you through the games and do the hard work and all that kind of stuff. I don't think Arsenal have that, which is why I think they're always one injury away from, and that's why I don't think they're a champion-winning team. Anyway,
I guess you're right. I agree. But I guess Stam will tell. Because sometimes, what has happened at times is you've got a set playing 11. Like, I'll take Kelleher's example for this. Like, we didn't know how good Kelleher was till Alisson Becker got injured. I think Kelleher is a very good...
supporters always knew.
Liverpool supporters. I'm not talking about Liverpool supporters. I'm talking about everyone. Not everyone knew how good Kelleher was till he got a chance. We wouldn't know how Calafiori or Timber or anyone else for that matter would be till they get a chance, a consistent run of games. So, but yeah, you're right. I think on paper, Arsenal's squad looks a bit thinner than the other teams around it. But I guess that's how things are. And I'm guessing they're aware of it and they have to deal with it. They just need to pray that none of their players get injured.
Yeah. That's what tends to happen as well. You need a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
Also, to win the Premier League, right? Like you need your key players to be injury free, and in other cases,
and some decisions to go in your.
Decisions. Oh my God, there'll be some questionable decisions over the course of the weekend as well. But anyway, let's move on. I think we've belabored a bit too much on Arsenal. Chelsea did pretty well. I thought Chelsea. I watched that game, the Chelsea-Leicester game. I think Nicholas Jackson is a brand new striker this season. He's been on fire. He's on my FPL team as well. So I always tend to watch. And I don't know, Cole Palmer, again, I think he's a great player, no doubt about it. But I still don't see him as much in big games. He kind of goes missing.
This wasn't a big game, to be honest with you. This wasn't a big game.
Well, no, I'm not talking. I think he did quite well in this game. But I'm just saying, like, he does well in these types of games, right? Okay. In the bigger games, he kind of goes missing, and I'd like to see more of like the Lampard type match winner, right? Like the guy who grabs the game by the scruff of the neck, and then with the game jita de. So
I understand what you're saying. I think the talent is there for him. What I like about him, he's not flashy. He comes across as a earnest guy who just wants to play football.
I can't believe how cold he is.
You have to understand also that this is the first season where he's become a starter. He's become a proper starter for a team, right? So I think you're expecting too much from him too soon. Again, I think he has the talent. I don't know much more about the guy.
The reason why I am basically being overly critical about him is because we've heard like a lot of big pundits name him player of the season already and say that he's the best player in the Premier League right now. He's got a long way to go. He's 20 years old. Give him time, give him room. I think he's a great player. He could probably take away the PFA this year for sure. I think he's got a long way to be that world-class player. I don't think he's there yet. Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying. I think he did well for himself in Euros as well. He played for England a couple of games. Right, and so that shows
he wasn't starting though. I can't believe he wasn't starting for some of the games. It was so unfair, so unfair.
Plus, I think his versatility is a good thing for him. He can play centrally as well as on the right side of the front three. I really like him. I think he's a great player. But I guess as like people calling him player of the season so early, I agree with you. This is it's too early. Let's wait till February, March. Let's have a sizable amount of data, amount of games to see how he has performed over, let's say, more than half of the season. And then, probably, if he does well, we would want him to do well. I mean, why not? A young guy, doing well.
And he's He's the perfect Tuchel kind of player too, I feel, because he'll fit into that number 9, false 9 role perfectly.
Probably.
And then, everyone can play off him for England as well.
Problem with England is that they've got too many of those kind of players right now. They've got Bellingham for that role.
Yeah.
They've got Palmer for that role. They've got Foden for that role.
I don't think Foden is of that level, and I think Bellingham is probably more suited to playing in midfield as opposed to being a false 9. But I see what you're saying.
I'm just saying that they've got players for that role. So, but yeah, all the best to him. I think what I took away from Chelsea and Leicester game was that Enzo Fernandez is coming into his own.
I agree. Yeah.
He is being.
So is Caicedo, by the way. I think Caicedo did pretty well as well in that game.
Yeah, I remember Caicedo against United. I think Caicedo was really good at that game. But obviously with a goal and an assist, Enzo stole the headlines. And I guess we're starting to see Enzo that we saw at the World Cup in Qatar. Prompted Chelsea to buy him due to his performances. He was the engine in that Argentina.
Okay. So that was the Leicester and Chelsea game. Don't really
by the way, I was reading today I was watching the game for Ipswich United, and I saw a ticker running that apparently Leicester has sacked their coach.
Have they really?
Yeah.
Steve Cooper?
Yeah. I think they've sacked him.
I like Steve Cooper.
Yeah, but I guess they were looking for results.
Yeah, I guess. I guess. Well, Leicester didn't have the best start of the season. I don't think they're a Premier League team, bro. Like, I'm looking at all the teams that got promoted. I think Leicester are probably the most likely to go down. This was always going to be an uphill task for Steve Cooper coming in. If you recall, Steve Cooper was Nottingham Forest coach. Part of it.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Leicester looks like they're going to go down, but weirder things have happened. So let's see.
Yeah. True. Anything can happen in the second half of the season.
Right.
You get to see a Jamie Vardy run, right? Like that's, maybe for one final time. I don't know.
Yeah, last hurrah.
The last hurrah was Jamie Vardy. That would be cool. Okay. So, I mean, there were a few other games that, Wolves beat Fulham 4-1. By the way, the Fulham keeper did a fantastic job in that. That game would have been probably like 8-9-0, man.
Oh, really? I didn't watch that game.
That's a good game to watch highlights of. You'll see plenty of highlights.
Was it Bernd Leno, the Fulham goalkeeper? The ex-Arsenal keeper?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Bernd Leno. Yeah. And then Cunha, he came into his own. It was a Cunha game. He ran the show.
He's a class player.
Yeah, he is. It's very, very quick. Deceivingly quick player.
You don't think that he's that quick? With his frame and thing, but he's deceivingly quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good on Wolves. Yeah.
Good for Gary O'Neill. I like that manager too.
Next, I think is
Brighton keep on winning. Brighton beat Bournemouth at home at the Vitality. So that was a big game.
And I think for the last, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes, I think, just 1 minute, let me see. Yeah, for the last half an hour, Brighton were down to 10 men because their player had a red card.
Wow.
So, and that's when they conceded the goal in the injury time, 93rd minute.
Wow.
But before that, it was all Brighton. And I think Brighton have got their footballing principles down very well. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
But again, the only problem with Brighton is that they're not consistent. The whole team in certain games seems to switch off. And you see Brighton losing 3-0, 4-0. So yeah, I think Brighton are one of the better teams to watch in Premier League. And I think they've got really quality players in Pedro and Mitoma. They used to have one player who I think they've loaned to Leicester, Enciso.
Yeah. Enciso, yeah.
Yeah,
he was a left-wing attacking midfielder. Yeah.
That's right. I think he's playing for Leicester this season. He's on loan over there. Yeah. So, but I think Leicester.
I'm surprised.
Brighton has their principles down.
You know who I really like from Brighton, who's probably like an unsung hero up to now is Baliba, the midfielder.
Baliba, okay.
I'm
not sure.
I would say he's a baller. This dude, he's a midfielder, and I think he's a really good profile that the likes of Arsenal, City or Liverpool, all three of them are going to be looking at in January. And the reason why I say that is because that profile of defensive player, right, is not really widely available in the market right now.
By the way, it was Believer who got red carded.
Oh my God.
I just saw it.
So I take all of that back.
You know who I really like as a defensive midfielder, who I think is really great. I think it's more of a box to box than Andre Onana for Aston Villa.
Man, like I think he's more box to box. But man, like his carry and his like
his dribbling is
willingness to run.
Decent. Yeah.
You know who's really good? Okay, let's move on to the Liverpool and Southampton game.
No, I think we've got Aston Villa, Crystal Palace for cover.
Okay, so we'll
now
let's
that
do
we're
that
Andrew
first.
and Onana, we'll discuss Aston Villa and Crystal Palace.
Yeah, let's do that because when you said about Onana, it reminded me of this one player from Southampton that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, let's talk about Southampton. Let's talk about Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. Ollie Watkins with a goal, Ross Barkley with a goal, and I don't even know who this Devaney is.
Justin Devaney and Ismailis are with goals each for Crystal Palace.
But Mateta is another really good.
Jean-Philippe Mateta. I think he had the SR goal.
Yeah, he needs to be injury free, man. Like I like that profile of a player. You don't see that kind of striker anymore, right? Like
he's more of a Benteke kind of striker.
Exactly.
Yeah, very few.
He used to be a very popular profile in the 90s, I think, when Peter Crouch was around and when he was doing the things that he was doing.
But, as a matter of fact, I was listening to someone the other day. So that, you're right, that is the profile of striker in the 90s. Then, since 2000s and 2010s, football shifted to quick, small, agile strikers. But this
Aguero type strikers, yeah.
Aguero, Jermaine Defoe, those kind of strikers. But now football is moving back to tall strikers who can hold the ball. Haaland,
they want everything, right? They want a bit of everything in their striker. They want them to be ball carriers and people who can run in behind.
Right.
That's thumbs up, I guess.
Yeah, I think football keeps on changing. The landscape keeps changing frequently. So, there's no right or wrong way. It's just that something that works for those set of players.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
So I think
that was a disappointing game for considering where Aston Villa want to be at the end of the season. They should be winning one type of game, no disrespect to Crystal Palace, but where Crystal Palace are in their journey versus where Aston Villa is, this is a game that Villa should have been at home too, right? Like they should be really winning this.
Crystal Palace is touted to be one of the teams that might go down this season. So for Aston Villa to lose to them,
they drew.
I think it would hurt them.
Feels like a loss.
Sorry. Yeah, it must feel like a loss.
Yeah.
That they've drawn. Plus, I see actually Aston Villa had a chance to win this game, but Yuri Tielemans missed a penalty in the 45th minute.
Why? He's going to be popular.
Right. No, he's a baller. But I guess Aston Villa will feel an opportunity missed, and Crystal Palace,
of course,
would be very happy with the result to get that point.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to today. Some really interesting games that happened today. So yeah, we can kick it off with Southampton Liverpool. I think this was potentially like a banana skin game. And I think, the writing was on the wall. Everyone knew that this was going to be that type of game because when you're playing Real Madrid and City as your next two games, going into this game, that's the only thing that's going to be on your mind. So I think, again, this is something that Liverpool have to prove more and more as they go forward. Yeah, they won the game, right? They won ugly. They won the game. I don't think they were dominant by any means. I think Southampton played really well. I think prior to this game, Russell Martin has been losing. I think he lost 5 on the trot or 4 on the trot, and now he's lost this game too. But I think in this game, his players were really backing him. They were everywhere, using the width of the pitch, tracking back, and in the first half especially. And the goals I think from Southampton were probably a bit scrappy. I wouldn't say they were, brilliantly created goals. Probably errors from Liverpool as well. But also coming back from international break, again, credentials that you need to prove yourself in, right? In order to be champions and so on and so forth. So I think good win for Liverpool overall, but still a lot more questions than there are answers for Liverpool going. I know they've, I've heard this again and again that they haven't played anyone good. I mean, they've really played everyone except City, which they will next week. And we'll see how they far in that game. What are your thoughts?
I think a fortunate time for Liverpool to be playing City, or an unfortunate, because City is like a wounded tiger right now, and they would want to prove a point. But then again, on the other hand, their form is bad, so Liverpool can make the most of that. On the other front, about the game, I think Liverpool should have won comfortably, playing against Southampton, who are at the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
Who have won just one game so far this season. I think it came as a surprise to me that Liverpool defense is usually dependable. I think all the team was fine. But as you said, at times, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe the Liverpool players were much more relaxed than they should have been. They probably weren't up to the challenge. They thought it might be an easy part, but, to have that kind of mentality against a team that is fighting relegation, is going to, put their all in the game.
You have to turn up every week. Yeah, yes. And you have to turn up every week.
Yeah, Premier League, yes, definitely. You have to turn up because you never know. It's a different thing in Premier League. I mean, you can't just think that a position of a team on the table does not define its performances week in, week out. As we've seen a lot of times, teams might play good and still not be able to come back with any points.
Agreed. Like, taking this game as an example, Adeel, I'll give you an example. So the people that we had missing in this game were, Harvey Elliott came back, but he was on the bench. He didn't play the game because he wasn't needed. I think Spursy did pretty well. Diogo Jota was missing. Trent Alexander-Arnold was missing. And obviously Alisson Becker was missing. And the requirement was to get the job done, right? We had Nunez, we had Conor Bradley, and who I think is also a very...
Bro, I think you're being too easy on Liverpool. I think I'm looking at the starting 11, and even if those players were fit, except Kelleher, I don't think it's a bad team to start with.
Oh, I agree. I don't think it's a bad team at all to start with, but it's not our first choice
to beat Southampton. No, come on. You think Cody Gakpo has not started games for Liverpool in the past?
No. I mean, you're just picking one player, right? I'm talking about the overall starting 11.
So which starting 11 do you think would have been has not played starting 11 for Liverpool of these 11 who started?
When everyone's fit? When everyone's fit?
Yeah.
So Diogo Jota slots in for Nunez. Nunez will start the game.
Bro, I understand what you're saying. Well, I understand. As I have seen, as much as that, I've not seen Liverpool games more than you, but as much as I've seen, Diogo Jota is a quality player, no doubt about it. This was not, first of all, you're playing against Southampton, right? It was not City or Arsenal or Chelsea, right? So what I've seen from Arne Slot or even Jürgen Klopp, that they keep rotating their front three, okay? I guess the only player who came to the pitch and made a difference was Luis Diaz instead of Cody Gakpo. I think Luis Diaz is the one who should have started.
He wasn't really involved in any goals. Or
that doesn't matter, but his presence creates panic. More than Cody Gakpo. So I think Luis Diaz should have started on the left wing rather than Cody Gakpo.
That was not with reference to him being injured or anything. It was more because he came back from duty late, international duty.
That's what I'm saying.
But no, the point that I'm trying to make here is these players, like you're saying, they're being rotated, right? If everyone's fit, they're being rotated. So these players are now playing week in, week out because of injuries to our starters, right? So then these players then become starters, but we're still winning games, right? So the point that I'm making is we have like Arsenal have an injury crisis. Like I have a issue with like the label that Arsenal have an injury crisis. Like I generally don't think they have an injury crisis. Yeah, they have 2 or 3 players who were from the starting 11 that got injured, right? But you should have at least 2 to 3 players as backup.
Right now, I don't think any team is having. I don't think even Liverpool has an injury crisis per se.
Oh, well, I've never said that we have an injury crisis.
I'm not saying you or Liverpool, Arsenal, United, City has Rodri missing. That's not an injury crisis.
Yeah, agreed.
You're one of the main.
That's the point that I'm making.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say, right?
I think Liverpool had a very good starting 11. I mean, even if this is a good starting 11. I mean, these are the players who have performed, who are really good players. Cody Gakpo is good. Dominic Szoboszlai, I like this guy a lot, by the way. Szoboszlai. Curtis Jones is really good.
I liked him more when we signed him than I do at this point in time. Because the purpose that we signed him for versus his role in the team right now, there's a disconnect there. He's a workhorse right now in the team. We signed him to be a creative 10, right? Because that's his, and he was supposed to be that distance shooter that we were missing. He was supposed to be that. He has the number 8 shirt, so that tells you everything. The kind of game we expect him to play. But yeah, there was a good left-footed goal from him today that helped level the game. But before we move on from Liverpool, the player that I wanted to mention, is to watch out for, in my opinion, is Onacho. He went off injured in the second half.
Onacho, okay.
But y'all, they got the presence of the pitch. Like, this guy is 6'7", okay?
Oh, okay.
And
I didn't see the game fully. I just saw a bit of the game. I didn't see the full game.
Yeah. So he recently, this is his first start in like, I think since a year or something. And the first Southampton. And Yar Matlab can hold the ball up. He can then, after holding up the ball when there's no supply, but there's nobody open to pass the ball, he can then dribble and then find, and every time he did that successfully. I was really surprised. Really surprised.
Liverpool was fortunate to finish 2-2. 2-2 or 3-2, win this game. Had there not been that handball, I think prior to that, it was all Liverpool.
Well,
it was all Liverpool.
You see that? Okay, what did you think about the penalty?
I think it was a penalty.
No, not the handball. Not the handball. Then there was like Liverpool conceded a penalty. That was in the first half.
No, I haven't seen that. As I told you, I started watching in the second half only. I think that happened in the first half, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that happened in the first. I think that happened in the first half. Let me just make sure.
No, it happened in the first half. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. So it was a penalty, and like I don't know what the Michael Oliver was smoking in the VAR room, but Robertson failed him outside the line. Okay, and then this is another kid to keep an eye out for who I was impressed with was Dibbling. He can he's a very good runner and
right winger. Yeah, he's really good. I've seen him.
Yeah.
Actually, if I'm not wrong, United has their eyes on him. Yeah, I read somewhere United has their eyes on him. But we know at the end of the day, if he becomes available, Liverpool gonna get him because that's Southampton part 2, right?
Yeah. Southampton B team. Yeah, Liverpool B team is Southampton. Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, you were saying
I would probably take Onacho over Dibbling at this point because
I think Núñez is very good.
No, Núñez, I agree, Núñez is very good, but the kind of wages that we're paying Núñez and for the output that we're getting out of him, if you can give a fraction of that to Onacho and get a similar kind of output, the thing is, you know what? I don't know. I'm torn about that because Núñez does work a lot on the pitch as well. He does a lot of chasing. He's really very good at pressing.
He's good.
I haven't seen Onacho's, probably I was too impressed with Onacho. He did get injured 60 minutes into the game and went off.
Right, exactly.
But anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Dibbling was very good. I thought he would carry the ball really well and so. But yeah, we're talking about the penalty incident. There's a line, okay, and Robertson basically puts his foot right on the line or right before the line, and Dibbling basically trips and he falls. Right, and Michael Oliver's comment was, even though the contact was outside the box, there was no evidence that the contact was released after he crossed the line. And crossed the line as in when he was falling over.
When did he comment that?
So, like, the commentators were actually saying that, that's what they would have heard Michael Oliver say, that that's
But
the
was it
reason
gone
why.
to, was it referred to VAR?
Yeah, it was.
Well, then I think you can hardly complain about. Man, you won the game. Just move on, bro.
No, I'm not. It's not about. See, if we lost the game, then it may look like, like, what the hell, like, you're complaining just because of. But even though we won the game, I think
I haven't seen. No, I understand what you're saying, but unfortunately, it's my bad that I haven't seen the incident myself, so I can't really give any input into that. Again, as you know, how ambiguous these roles are.
Very subjective. I don't know how this can be taken as subjective because clearly the contact is outside. But anyway, let's move on from that. I think good win for Liverpool. They have Madrid next, so we'll see. By the way, do you want to put a prediction on that game? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Liverpool,
Madrid. Anfield.
And I think Paul will win. I have a feeling Liverpool will win. Yeah, because I think just like City, Madrid's form is not that great at the moment as well.
You guys were a rough patch.
Yes.
Okay, give me a score. What do you think is going to be the score?
I think 3-1 to Paul.
I think it's going to be 2-2 draw for what it's worth because Madrid is Madrid and they are kind of our boogie team, if you like.
But I think it's Anfield. But I think it's Anfield, so I think that I get
it, but we played them in Anfield a couple of times in the past as well. And even though, like, I remember this last game that we played at Anfield, like, it looked like we were going to blow them away. Like, in the first 20, 30 minutes, we had scored 2. And then they came back to score. A couple of years,
when
2 years ago?
When Ronaldo was playing for Madrid?
No.
Because I remember that game at Anfield and I felt bad for Liverpool.
Nunez scored the first goal in that game. So let me tell you what the score was. The last game was actually 1-0. And before that, embarrassing. Worse than I actually initially told you. So we scored, Nunez scored in the 4th minute. Salah scored in the 14th minute. And then Madrid scored 5 after that.
Oh, okay. I can't seem to recall that game for some reason.
Benzema scored 2 in that game, and
Eden
Militao scored a goal, and Vinicius Jr. scored a couple. And this was in last year, actually.
Okay.
February 23.
Right.
But anyway,
you lost by champions. You lost to the champions, so there's no shame in that. They ended up winning the Champions League.
I think that year, I think City won, right?
No,
last year before that. City won that year, and then last year, obviously,
Yeah, so Feb 23 was the game, and then June 23 would have been the final. So it was Madrid. Madrid is the current winner of the Champions League, right?
23, but 24 is when.
Of course. Sorry. I'm lost. So City won against Inter, yeah. So City beat Real Madrid in the semi-finals, if I'm not wrong.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, over 2 legs. Yes, I remember.
I got that wrong once before as well on like a WhatsApp friend group thing.
Right.
Like I couldn't remember. I couldn't tell if it was 24, 25.
I understand.
But you know how Madrid fans are like blind. They think, Hala Madrid, Hala Madrid, Hala Madrid.
Well, their team is doing well for the past decade or so they're bound to happen. At least in the European competition. So, anyways, moving to the last game of the game week. Ipswich and Manchester United. Okay. So 1-1 draw, I think, which was fair. Fair result, considering how both teams played. I think I'm really impressed with Ipswich. For some reason, I've ended up, whenever I have time, I've ended up watching Ipswich games more than any other team this season.
Yeah. What do you think of them overall since the start?
I think they're a very good football playing team. As
they
I said,
just like manager.
Brighton.
Kieran McKenna, really, really talented manager.
I think it helps that this manager has been with them for a while. Yeah. So, everyone's behind him. I think they're a really good team. They're 1 or 2 really good players short of being a mid-table team. I think they're on the right track. They have a good manager. They have a good team. From what I saw today and what I've seen in the past, the players play for each other. They fight for each other. And they have a clear idea on what needs to be done at what point
kind of play.
Yeah. and they've all bought into it, and I think they're a fantastic team. United showed some flashes today under Amorim. Obviously, they scored within the first 90 seconds. So in bits and pieces, they were good. But I guess from what I've seen for United, I think Amorim wants more high intensity, which these players are not able to offer him.
Right.
For Amorim, because I saw his interview as well, two of his, one press conference, his interview as well. So I think Amorim has said that he'll give full chance to these players, will not make any decision. Yeah, and obviously it's unfair because I think he's had 1 or 2 training sessions and a game. I think he'll be patient. He seems like a football guy. He seems like he's not come into the club with any preconceived notions. He just starting from the clean slate. That I'll give every player a chance, like how he started Diallo today. Luke Shaw came on as a substitute.
Rashford also started, by the way. So.
Oh, Rashford,
yeah.
But I think the thing is that the old habits have set in.
What do you think of Rashford? Sorry, I'm cutting you off, but I really want to know, what did you think of that Rashford performance? How old is he now, by the way? 27?
I don't think so. Let me check. Just a minute. Yeah, 27. You're right.
Yeah. So, like, he's probably now should be in his prime now. Like, starting now to 29, 30 should be his prime.
True.
And I think, like, okay, forget what my opinion is. You've obviously watched United games probably more than me, but what did you make of that performance from Rashford?
Unfortunately, the thing is that Rashford has had... See, I'll tell you, like, when Rashford came into the team initially, as a new player, you could see his passion, you could see his talent. But over the past 2 or 3 seasons, I think he's become very stagnant. He obviously has that spark in him to change games.
Yeah, agreed.
But he's not consistent, unfortunately. So for him to be considered world class, he needs to be consistent. 8.5 out of 10 performances every week. He's not that. But based on what he was when he came into the team, we expected that he's going to be the next world-class player that United has.
So would you put him in the same bracket as Danny Welbeck for United?
He's better than Danny Welbeck. Any day. He's better than Danny Welbeck. For sure. He has more in his arsenal than Danny Welbeck did.
Agreed, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. He has the talent. He has the tricks. I think it's more of a mentality issue for him, I guess, again. But I think he needs to definitely do better, much better, if he wants to be considered in future a legend for United. Because obviously he's grown up. He's grown up supporting United.
He's at his best, I think, when he's running in behind, in my opinion.
Yes.
And we have seen him score some unbelievable goals from running in behind. There were two or three instances today that I could not believe that Rashford wasn't able to either win or outrun or control or what have you. So yeah, you're right. It looks like there's some mentality issue, but I think it is.
He has the pace. He has exactly. A very good shot at him. In him, right?
Agreed.
The only thing is, I think that's lacking for him is running without the ball. He has to make things happen. He had to have that hunger to make things happen.
Yeah, agreed.
But having said that, okay, so I remember him making runs on the wings. This is a new system for him to have those, because he's playing in the middle at the top of the spear. I think he still needs, I give him a benefit of doubt that, okay, you need 2-3 games to know your lateral runs, your diagonal runs, right? Because although he's not played as much as a central striker. He's played more of and they played 4-3-3, so he's been kind of that.
Yeah.
But again, it's sad to see that he has so much talent, but he's not able to convert that. I think mentally he's not there still. 2-3 seasons he's been very mediocre for his standards. I expect a lot more from him. I personally expect a lot more to him, lot more from him. But he's not been there. He should be one of the top players in the Premier League for sure.
At least.
I mean, the kind of talent that guy has. He has the tricks, he has control, he has everything. He is a good free kick taker as well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't know what the scenario is behind the scenes. He doesn't want to take more responsibility. He's shy of taking responsibility. his mind is elsewhere.
I don't think.
Kind of.
Yeah, I don't think he's shy of taking responsibility. I think he's distracted. I think that's probably what it is.
Maybe. I don't know. But I hope
it's not easy. Fame is not easy, right? To manage fame is not easy. I don't know if you heard about the Kwanzaa incident. But if you haven't, then I would suggest you
I'll do that. I'll read that up.
go to Twitter and read up about, who Kwanzaa is, right? He's a defender for Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah.
He's a kid, like 20 years old, and he got wired up in the wrong crowd, if you like, and it's actually quite funny. It's quite funny.
Happens a lot. But I guess at the end of the day, I'd like to end with this game week that I hope that Rashford finds his street. This new manager is able to ignite that fire in him, which we saw when he came to the scene, running at defenders, dribbling past them. We get to see that, and that's all.
My opinion about the game is that United are very lucky to draw the game. I think.
Yeah,
I'll say this because a Ten Hag team does not draw this; they lose this game. Simply because of the desire piece, not because they're not good enough, right? Probably because of the desire piece, but also because of what you said earlier, which is that I think because we played Ipswich as our first game, and I think we were lucky that we played them in the first game versus when they're actually, in the middle of the season, more well gelled and because I truly think Kieran McKenna is a great manager. I think some of the players like Alex Twanzebe in defense, John O'Shea, Clark, what's his name? Josh Clark or something? John Clark. I think he was all over the field. I would love to see his heat map. Who's that? Omari Hutchinson. So I think he's very underrated. This may be like a breakout season for him. He needs to be a better finisher. I think he's got a lot of good tricks in his books and can carry the ball and he can dribble. So I think keeping all of those things in mind. By the way, I love Amad Diallo. His control and his dribbling reminds me of young Martial, like a left-footed Martial. Even though Martial was two-footed, but when he was 19 and he broke out into the scene and he scored that goal against Liverpool, his first goal. His close control, Diallo's close control, and his running and his vision.
He's brilliant. Technically, he's very brilliant. He's brilliant, Diallo. I really like him. This is going to be a breakout season for him. I like
him better than Garnacho, by the way. So that is my hot take. Right. I think Garnacho is a lot of flash and fire, but he's no doubt a really, really good player. He's done really well for United. He's been a bright sparkle for United. Actually, I think
now that you mentioned, I would like to take my statement back that I think this was a fair result. No, I think you were right. United were lucky to draw this game because I just remembered that those two Onana saves, had that not been the case.
So, yes, I was going down. This is what I was building towards.
Yeah, because I don't remember United being as threatening towards the Ipswich goal. On the other hand, you know what? Because it was United versus Ipswich, although it was hurting me to see how United were losing the ball so frequently. At the same time, I was very impressed with how Ipswich was building the game, their passes and everything. They were very impressive,
very organized. They were very organized. Speaking of that, speaking of organization, let's build out our team of the week. So we're gonna put the graphic up. But let's start with the goalkeeper and then make our way upwards, okay?
Done. So 4-3-3, right?
Okay, let's do 4-3-3.
Everyone plays 4-3-3.
Yeah. For goalkeeper, and there's a reason why I've chosen the goalkeeper is because I did not mention his name. You have throughout this whole conversation. I think Onana drew the game for United, and I think his distribution was okay. I think the way that his role in this United team is better than his role in the United team under Ten Hag because he's not the main defensive player that United are playing through. He's a goalkeeper. He's doing a goalkeeper's job.
I understand.
And he did those things well. And for me, I think it should be Onana.
I think personally, Vicario.
You think Vicario?
Yeah, Vicario, because he kept a clean sheet against City.
Fair enough.
Against a City team who had, if I remember correctly, City had 23 shots. If I'm not wrong.
Ridiculous. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
I would go with Vicario.
Yeah. Our very close second is
No, sorry. City had 11 shots in total. No, 8. Yeah, 23 shots with 5 shots on target and 7 blocked shots. So yeah, I think the cardio for me is. So are we agreeing on that?
The cards.
Cardio?
Yeah, I agree with that. Because of a
Okay.
clean sheet. It makes sense.
Right.
From a defensive perspective, let's start with a left-footed defender. I think it should be the Arsenal defense because they kept a clean sheet and they did quite well, I thought, for the game. So what do you think,
So in
Saliba
my-
and Gabriel?
I put actually Saliba and Dragushin from Tottenham.
Okay.
My team is
Okay.
very Tottenham dominated.
Insane. Okay.
For the simple reason that, yeah, Saliba for his performance for Arsenal against Nottingham Forest, but I think Dragushin not being the first choice centre back, keeping a clean sheet against City, because Tottenham's first choice are Mickey Van der Ven and Romero.
Yeah.
So, and he was part.
Romero's injured.
Yeah, so
Is
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with keeping that in mind, firstly. Secondly, he was partnered in central defense with Ben Davies, who was a left back. So they didn't even start with proper centre backs pairing.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah,
Dragushin
fair
to
enough.
come, so I think Saliba and Dragushin
Okay.
in central defense.
I can live with that. I did see Dragushin. I thought he did quite well considering he was up against
No,
he was
he's
up against
underrated.
Holland.
He's pretty underrated. I think he's a good defender.
I think he could do well in a 3-5-2 system or a 5-3-2 system for Ange Postecoglou. But okay, left
Yeah.
back.
Okay, so left back, I put Ben Davies because
Okay.
being a left
Why is
back,
that?
because for the simple reason that being a left back, he's played central defense and kept a clean sheet for the simple. So my defensive line is, except Saliba, all are Tottenham players.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, the best right back in the world makes the right slot, right? Like
yeah.
Pedro Porro, what a player! I think he is arguably the best right back in the history of football. You know?
No,
Like he's probably the best player ever to have touched a football.
no, he's not.
The way he
No.
runs, the way he turns, the way he dribbles, his dedication.
Yeah.
You know, he wears a white shirt, which is very. Sorry, that's not what I was trying to say.
I know you want what you're doing. I know you want Real Madrid to go for him rather than Trent
Oh my
Alexander.
God, that makes so much sense. I didn't think it until you just said it,
Yeah.
and then now that you're saying it just,
No, he's good.
it just
He's
fits
great.
together.
Great player. He's a great player. I think, but he still has to have consistency in his game. So that
I agree.
was my. So he's my right back for the
I
week,
agree.
and left back is Davies. I don't know who would you be choosing for right back and left back.
I think
positions?
left back I was torn. There were a lot of different options. I think personally, like the guy that we were talking about last week, Olaina, a lot.
Yeah, but he didn't have a good game this week. They conceded 3 goals.
Well, I know, and that's why I don't want to bring him up from the team of the week perspective. But I like him a lot. I think he did pretty well. I think Robertson did okay. I didn't do too badly, but again, Liverpool conceded. So I think Davies is a fair option for team of the week. He is not the perfect left back, so I'll be interested to see how many times he stays on team of the week for us. But we'll see. But Pedro Porro for sure. If not the second best, he's probably like top 3 best right backs in the Premier League for sure.
Yeah, easily. Now that you mention it, if you get a chance, I've been really impressed with Mazraoui that United have signed.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
been
yeah,
very
yeah.
consistent. He's been very consistent with his performances.
Very consistent player. Very consistent player and quality. Like
Quality, good
he
quality.
wears his heart on his sleeve
Yeah.
as well. And I personally was gutted when Mazraoui was going to United. I would have loved to have seen him at
he's really
Liverpool
good
as a
player.
replacement
And today
for
He played part of a centre back 3, but I think I really like him. I rate him.
Yeah.
I think he's very honest in his performances. That's what I feel.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
But
Okay,
anyways,
let's move on to
our
midfield.
back four are Pedro Porro, Saliba, Dragushin, and Davies with Vicario and goalkeeper. So now middle.
Okay, so from a defensive for a defensive midfielder, I think I like Baliba a lot. I think I mentioned this earlier as well. His
I understand, but we're doing game
pass-
of the week. We're doing team of
No,
the week.
I know.
So we have
No, fair. Yeah. I'm giving you 2-3 names that I think are really good. Obviously, it makes absolute sense for us to. Can I pick any three? Like, there don't have to be a defensive option. I can start with anything. Probably the most relevant. Okay, so I think a very easy one for me would be Madison. He scored 2 goals on his birthday.
I agree with you.
And he's well rated. Everyone's quite familiar with his game, and knowing his game, he was able to do what he did. And being his birthday, I'm sure it would have been a special occasion to beat City 4-0. So I think he's my first pick for midfield.
Yes,
Yeah.
mine too.
Okay.
Mine too.
What about your second? Let's go second pick. What do you think?
Second, I was going to choose Enzo Fernandez for Chelsea. Because he had a goal and an assist in that game. Plus, his overall performance was very good as well. So Enzo for me. And what about third midfielder?
So, I mean, there are a lot of different options out there for like a third. Like, I would like to see like a Ross Barkley because he got a goal. And, this is his third club in like 3 years. I think that's what it is, right? Like, Ross Barkley is played for 3 different clubs. This is his third club.
Luton Town, Aston Villa. Last year. And I think last year was Luton Town. He was playing for Luton.
Yeah. And this year,
Aston Villa.
He's with, So, and then he got a goal. And I think it was a decent game. I think it was like a 7 probably. 6.5, 7 for him. I didn't watch the highlights. So I think it should be Ross Barkley. What do you think?
Well, I've put Pedro for Brighton.
But isn't Pedro left winger?
He was playing cam. He was playing cam in this game behind Welbeck.
Okay.
I saw.
So if you were saying that, then definitely I think Pedro would be, because he was going to be my left wing choice.
Because Pedro got a goal and an assist as well. So
yeah.
And his assist. Did you see his assist for Mitoma?
Bro, like he needs to stay fit. He needs to stay fit. I
for Brighton's
really
sake.
like
for Brighton's sake.
For Brighton's sake, yeah. And maybe, obviously, because I'm sure a player like that does not stay at a club like Brighton for too long, I think.
I think Brighton would be open to sell him if they got the right money as well. Brighton is that kind of club as well.
Yeah.
But I think for that goal, for Mitoma, his pass and Mitoma's finish, it was.
So let's put what's it say? Pedro as a third midfielder, and then let's put Mitoma as our left winger.
We'll come back to wingers. We'll come back to wingers.
Okay, I'm good with Pedro if we're going to use him as a midfielder.
Yeah. I think Pedro is fine. So now coming back to front three. So starting with right winger, I've got Salah.
Yeah, there's no other player that takes that spot for me.
I think Salah had the chance to score a hat-trick. I think he should have.
He hit the post.
The one that he posted, yeah. And again, just how I mentioned Mazraoui, I think even with Salah, the thing is that he's very honest with his performances. He gives his 100%. So, I think Salah is, without a doubt, the
the great thing about Salah is,
no, I don't.
Because he's been at the Premier League for about 8+ years. Well, some would argue more than that because he spent a year at Chelsea as well, and then went to. Everyone knows how he plays. Everyone knows the goals that he scores, and there's a certain goal that he scores, right?
Mm-hmm.
And still, they're not able to stop him, right?
Well, that has been for so many players, bro.
No, but I wouldn't say he's a complete forward. Would you say Mohamed Salah is a complete forward?
See, he has the necessary tool to make him a successful forward. Complete forward, I don't know what he's missing. I mean, see, from whatever he has, the amount of goals he's scoring, the assists he's doing, the kind of performance he's putting, I don't think he needs anything else. What is a complete forward?
Well, complete forward with somebody who's better with his head, who can hold the ball up better than he can.
I think he can. Personally, I think he can. I think he's very strong. No, he's deceivingly strong.
He can. I agree. But he's not that profile of like a number 9 a really good number 9 that could do that, right?
No, but the thing
like
is,
a Haaland.
That's not his position, bro. That's not his
position. Agreed. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? Like that's my whole point. Yeah. He's a right winger that cuts inside, moves the ball to his left foot, and scores goals.
So you're saying like he's a cheap man's Arjen Robben?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is...
But because no one can take that away from Robben. That is Robben.
I agree. What I'm trying to say is, I mean, definitely that is something that he can do. Salah can do. He can dribble. He can come inside. You know, he's good with his ball control. But there's little goals that when you watch, you know that Salah is going to do this. He's going to cut inside, bang, goal. Cut inside, bang, goal. Cut inside. And then you still see defenders, not being able to pick him up, which says a lot about his ability, right? And so I think, I agree. I don't think anybody takes that right wing position. So let's talk about left wing.
Left wing for me, because he's usually plays right wing, but because there was no position and this guy has to be in the team of the week, for me it's Saka.
Mud?
No, Saka. Saka.
Okay. Well, why do you say that? Because he scored a goal?
He scored goal and an assist. Plus, you should have seen the way Nottingham defense was panicking when he had the ball. He was making them cry. I mean, the guy, he was a live wire in that game. I mean, he had a point to prove or whatever it was, but he felt like a different Saka. I think he played really well. The win, Arsenal's win of 3-0 was down to him. A lot of that is down to him making a goal.
Scoring. Saka needs to be Saka in order for Arsenal to be Arsenal.
So for me, the other wing is occupied by Saka.
Fair enough. Salah on one and Saka. I think, obviously based on the achievements over the course of the week, I was going to put Pedro on there, but obviously we're using
him the sense.
We made I don't really have another pick, but obviously Saka has done pretty well. I did see parts of the game, and of what I had seen, I think he did pretty well. So I don't oppose to giving it to Saka at all.
Perfect. And now for the final position, the centre forward or the middle of the front three. Who do you have?
Cunha.
Yeah, same, bro. Cunha. Yeah.
I think like his speed and like his tenacity and his ability to bring the other players into the game. I think he is a complete forward. He can dribble, he can run, he can hold the ball. He can use his head. He's good cutting in. He can play across the front three as well. And he's a good false nine. So I think he's perfect. And then this game that, obviously Wolves won is another example of his excellence.
Contribution, yeah. And I think he has a good he has a head on him as well.
Intelligent.
Yeah, I think he's very intelligent as well. And for the past few weeks, I think he's been contributing towards with the goal or an assist very consistently. 4 or 5 weeks, I think he's been very consistent. So I think we've got our team set.
I think one other thing to keep in mind is I don't think there is another striker that did well this week.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Like Nunez was flat, Holland was flat, Rashford he scored a goal.
The only guy who comes close,
Nicholas Jackson, yes, he did. Yeah, I'd say he had a good game, but Cunha was Cunha.
Yeah,
I think he did pretty well. I think Liam did pretty well. Liam Delap didn't get a goal, but he played really well, I thought. I think the thing with the Liam Delap case, in my opinion, and tell me if I think you will, when I say this, you will say, oh, you know what, that makes sense, because it will.
What's that?
Remember Owen Ferguson from last year, Brighton, doing as well as they were, and Ferguson was scoring all the goals and was. I will disagree with that. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's about time to give them another week off. I think they've had a very, very tough drubbing this week. I think they need to go into hiding for a little bit. Have like a retreat, recover.
Yeah, they'll do that midweek when they'll do that midweek when they're playing against Feyenoord.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think Netherlands is great this time of year, and I think they should probably stay there for like a week or two, and then come back after
and then play Liverpool.
I hope De Bruyne has a bit of a niggle, with Feyenoord at Feyenoord, and then he comes back fit after the Liverpool game, because I like him. I do, and I think he's going to be a serious threat, meant to be the next big thing and what have you. And then obviously, poor guy had an injury. He's come back. It's kind of like hit and miss right now. And Liam Delap is kind of going through a similar trajectory. Like he's having that breakout season. He's obviously left Man City to join. And then he's a similar type of striker, very physical, can hold the ball up well, can dribble, and has a good finish in him. I'll be very interested to see how he fares over the next couple of seasons and how he develops.
I think more... first of all, coming from Man City Academy, I think that says a lot about him in itself, that he's a rated player. Plus, what I really like about him, I think he's a very hard worker. He runs around. That's in him. He goes for the ball. He has his physicality. I think I really like him as well. I think he's a good player, and I wish him the best for future. So
Yeah.
I think we've got our team set. So our team is Vicario as the goalkeeper. Back four is made up of Pedro Porro, Saliba, Dragushin, and Davies. The middle three are Madison, Enzo Fernandez, and Joao Pedro. And front three are Mohamed Salah, Bukayo Saka, and Matheus Cunha.
That is a title-winning team. Who do you put down as manager
Title-winning
for the week
team.
then?
Title-winning team.
I think that is a really.
I don't think it's a
that is a
title-winning
really
team.
good team. By the way,
Yeah, it's a good team.
you don't have a single City player in that team.
Yeah, for the simple reason that City didn't do well this
Wow.
week.
Yeah, that's true.
I hope
That
we can
that
put,
doesn't happen very
I
often.
hope- I
Even
hope-
in game weeks.
I hope we can put 3-4 City players next week.
So it's going to be very, very interesting to see.
how the season unfolds.
And then obviously, the three guys, and Salah and Van Dijk, their contracts coming to an end. It'll be interesting to
how's
see
that
how
going
that
to impact?
transpires.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Who would you
Maybe
want to
that's,
keep of the three? If you could keep only one of the three, who would you want to keep?
If I were one, there would definitely be Salah. Like, he wins you games.
Right.
If you look at the past, he has 12 goals and 10 assists so far this season in all competitions.
And
That's the most by any player.
Let's say,
And he's turned up.
no, bro, I know everything
Right.
about him. I understand your emotion.
Yeah.
Chill. What I'm saying is, okay, let's say you chose to keep Salah, right? So let's say Salah leaves and Van Dijk and Trent remain. Who's the one player you would want in place of Salah? In case Salah leaves.
From the transfer market?
Yeah, any player from the world. I mean, any apart from yourself.
I remember how I could run on the wing.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. That's all you did. You just ran. You sometimes ran beyond bounds as well. Yeah, you remember we were running, going behind the goal and keep calling the back, bro.
It was dark. I couldn't see. I just ended up behind the goal. Yo, what the? That's so funny. Anyway,
So, but who would you want to put in place of Salah?
honestly, I don't think you replace that type of player. I think you just bring somebody who could then be more of a team player, right?
Bro,
So,
I got
from
your
that perspective-
political answer. Give me your answer.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how Chiesa turns out. He's
Yeah, but he's already
certainly.
But he's not all that, right? So if you had to choose a player to put
Well, here's
from
the
the
thing, we
world,
don't know what he is. We don't
No.
know what he is right now.
I know what he is. But not from the squad. You had to add a player to your 11. Why are you making this so difficult? It's not that
Yeah,
difficult.
well, I will give you my answer. I've thought about this many times, many times. I think there's only one player who could possibly come in and replace. It's the Napoli right winger, the Georgian winger.
Oh, okay,
What's his
okay.
name?
I know who you mean. Fresh
I forget
Salah,
his
something
name.
like. He's got a difficult name. I'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they even try. Yeah,
Scalia. That's Scalia.
Rastelia. That's it, bro. That's it. So yeah, I think
Okay.
him. I think
Have you seen him play?
he's a different type of player, right?
Have you
Not
seen
the
him play?
same as of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he did pretty well against us too, actually. Liverpool in the Champions League, and so I think he's a good carrier of the ball. He can run, he can dribble.
But he's a left winger,
is
bro.
similar.
But he's a left winger. He's a right-footed left winger.
Yeah, no, but he can he's two-footed though. He could still play on the right wing.
Chalo.
And by the way, even Luis Diaz can play on the right wing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he can play the right. But I don't know. He wants to go to Barcelona. It looks like his father said he wanted to go to Barcelona at one point in time.
Barcelona.
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 Yeah, you guys could get Rafinha.
For right wing.
Yeah.
Barcelona.
Vinicius Junior.
Yeah, he's not leaving Madrid, bro. Like, be realistic. He's not gonna leave. Right. And I don't think I even want Mbappe because of the type of personality that he is. Right. He doesn't want to work hard for the team.
Even Mbappe doesn't want you.
Yeah. Well, that's true. He did want to come to Liverpool, and we were going to sign him, but the clause that that they were discussing was, should Real Madrid call, I'm going to leave.
Okay.
Right. And so Liverpool said no,
might as
and
well not
and
get
so on.
that kind of player in the first place itself.
Why get somebody for a couple of seasons? Right. It doesn't make sense.
And I'm sure it's a famous thing that after every great player comes a greater player. So you never
Yeah.
know. Maybe
Well,
you'll
speaking
earn
of
out
which,
someone. And you've always got Harvey
yeah,
Elliott. So
yeah, he's more of a number 10, right? We thought
I know,
he
I
would
know.
be like a good winger, but I don't think he's
No,
a
I
good
think he's a
winger. I
good
think
player.
he's
I think Curtis Jones are good players.
yeah, I'm torn. I'm torn about Curtis Jones, man. Like he holds the
Mm.
ball for too long. I
Or
think he's been given.
imagine if you guys get Raheem Sterling back. Raheem
Oh my
Sterling
God,
back.
no. No. We don't want him anymore, bro. We don't want him anymore. He's gone. He's burned that bridge. It's done. But you know who I would love to see back and play at least one game for Liverpool?
Steven Gerrard?
I mean, yeah, there's no way that's happening, right? Is Jay Sterling.
Jay Sterling. You're gonna make me cry now, bro.
Now that is a talent that never came to fruition.
So let's see what happens. Let's see which of the three leaves and which of the three stays. Okay, guys, so that's all for the week. Hopefully see you again next week with the fresh take on the games. Please share, subscribe, and ask your friends to do the same and ask them to ask their circles to do the same. We'd really like to hear your feedback on our podcast and basically let us know if there are anything you would like us to cover in
Yeah.
future video. Hope everyone stays safe and take care of yourselves and peace out.